to the Balance Patch Cup for May. My name is Ronald, joined once again by Sam Fletcher. And we are back in the fifth and final round of Swiss here with a very exciting matchup for everyone here. Both these players are currently at 3-1, sitting in a very good spot to make it to the top cut.
Yeah, whoever wins this match will be guaranteed a spot in top cut. Whoever loses will be subject to the whims of resistance. We've seen before. One of them we have not yet seen, but we have seen a very similar team. So let's get on into it. We'll start with the player who we haven't seen yet, but whose team looks very similar. That's going to be Ronald Ayers, coming in with a Calyrex Ice Miraidon composition that shares a lot of similarities to Cage's team from last round, but a couple key differences, primarily being that the item on the Miraidon is the Choice Scarf as opposed to the Choice Specs. This lets it act before pretty much any Pokemon in the format. It can't really afford to run Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam, given that the Choice Scarf cannot boost a special attack, instead opting to go all in on electric damage and running Electro Drift. Also, a Choice Band Urshifu Water on the team, designed to hit through Intimidate, do Urshifu things, just pack a little extra punch with those Choice Band Surging Strikes.
Yeah, this is very interesting on this team, given that he's not running any kind of rain on this team in the slightest, so this just helps to pressure through Protect, take out any pesky, I don't know, it like helps in the rain. Yeah, it just if anyone wants to protect, especially because with Miraidon being choice locked all the time, everything wants to protect to see where it locks into, protect themselves from that potential Electro Drift, and with that Choice Band on that Urshifu, it's going to take a lot of damage if it tries to protect anyways.
Yeah, and Ronald's team might not have rain, but Alek's does. If we remember, Alek is running that Swordfish combo, the Zacian and Kyogre, with a Tornadus that can set Tailwind. Kyogre having water or having Thunder instead of Ice Beam is that third attacking move next to the two Water Stabs. Thunder going to be boosted actually in power by the electric terrain that's likely to be on the field. And the Zacian, of course, having Swords Dance and Terra Fairy Play Rough. And a Scarf Urshifu. So we're going to get two Choice Locked Urshifus on the field, one Banded from Ronald and one Scarf from Alek. Typically one benefit of running Scarf Urshifu is that you can outspeed a lot of the base 135s that are running all around, but when you have a Choice Scarf on the base 135, like Ronald has on the Miraidon, all of a sudden the Urshifu can outspeed it even with its own Scarf.
Yeah, so in that instance, Alek really likely has to lean on this Tornadus with the Prankster Tailwind, get that up, guarantee that they're going to be able to go faster than anything else on Ronald's side, especially next to that Kyogre. As we saw in a previous game with Anthony, like with the Kyogre, just being able to outspeed and get off Water Spouts is so key to just crushing the opponents. And then speaking of that 135 base speeds, we have this Qianpao on Alek's side as well, running a Taunt instead of a usual like other dark move. That's very nice for having a lot of people normally run Prankster on their Tornadus with Taunt with the Prankster, but that can also be blocked by Farigiraf like we have on Ronald's side. Mm-hmm. So just having like that free Taunt that can't be blocked, that fast Taunt is gonna be pretty nice.
Yeah, I think the key to this game is going to be the Zacian from Alek's side, because nothing that Ronald has really likes to play into it defensively. But we're not going to see the Zacian start. Instead, we're going to see the Choice Scarf Urshifu next to the Kyogre for Alek, and we are going to see the Scarf Miraidon next to the Farigiraf for Ronald. Ronald selecting the music, the Gen 3 Hoenn Legendary. Pretty fitting considering that he's facing down a Kyogre. And this might be the best possible spot for a Scarf Miraidon, facing two water types, one of which cannot protect. This is just a clean Volt Switch into the Urshifu if he chooses to accept it.
Yeah, very awkward lead here for Alek. Once again, he's essentially forced to Terrastallize his Kyogre into a Grass type here so that it doesn't take that super effective hit. But that also leaves the Urshifu wide open here. Because, like we said, with the Miraidon being Choice Scarf, is faster than the Choice Scarf Urshifu. So, really, and we don't see any switches here, so this just leaves this Urshifu wide open for an attack.
Yeah, this Urshifu might just be cooked right away. And we see the Terra come out from Ronald's side as well. It's going to be Terra using the Terra on the Spurgrass into a Water type. a lot of times Farigiraf have this Terra type so they can sit in front of Kyogre, because typically water resists the 2 attacking types that Kyogre has. However, here we're seeing Alek's team building choice come into effect, where the Kyogre's coverage move is Thunder as opposed to Ice Beam. So that's actually, plus the electric terrain boost, really going to damage the Farigiraf. Now Ronald has to choose which Pokemon he wants to bring into a full power water spout. Never a fun choice, but if any Pokemon can take that neutral hit, it's an Assault Vest Iron Hands.
Absolutely, one of the bulkiest special mons. Well, at base form. Oh, but he just goes for the
There, oh, and it
and
survives.
it lives on 3 HP. Gets that Trick Room up. No paralysis from that 30% chance. So, very nice call there by Alek.
Yeah, that looks to be just within the range of a damage roll. Who knows exactly what the percentage? I don't know my Thunder Kyogre calcs against Terra Water Farigiraf. But Trick Room coming up here is just, it's monumental. Ronald now has the speed advantage on both of his Pokemon. Iron Hands is sitting pretty with a boosted attack stat and a helping hand support possibly from the Farigiraf. Alek no longer has his Terra available, so the types you see are the types you get. Here comes a low kick into the Kyogre. It is going to almost take it out, but the follow-up foul play will take out the Kyogre. A little bit of a risky play considering you're double targeting a mon that can protect and leaving the Zacian open, but it pays off for Ronald as the Kyogre goes down. Let's see what the Zacian can do.
Yeah, that felt like it could have been a... Oh, it just KOs the Iron Hands immediately with that super effective play rough. At the +1, nothing Iron Hands can do to survive that. Very good call here by Alek, just targeting down that. Like, the Iron Hands is absolutely the biggest threat to Alek here in Trick Room, so getting that out of the play immediately is huge.
For sure, and definitely an interesting play because the Kyogre wasn't really threatening much on Ronald's team, right? The Water Spout's not going to do a lot of damage, and Origin Pulse is a strong move, but you also have to connect it. So, I mean, you could risk it, and I still don't think Calyrex takes half its health from an Origin Pulse. So, if you're looking at that board state, Zacian's the only Pokemon that can really do a lot of damage. Ronald choosing to ignore it, but now we see a Helping Hand coming out into the Calyrex. This one might be an attack into the Zacian. The Chiempao is going to protect, so is the Zacian going to just be open to a high horsepower from a Helping Hand? It is, and here's the hit. It is going to take it out in one shot, and now that is the biggest threat to Ronald's team. Down for the count.
Down and out. Like, the high horsepower with the Helping Hand plus the Sword of Ruin just absolutely leaves that Zacian no chance to survive. And now this Chiempao is sitting here with, what, 2 turns left to Trick Room just as a sitting duck. To any kind of follow-up.
And what's worse is that it can't even go for Sucker Punch because of the Farigiraf's Armor Tail ability. So just single ice coverage against an Ice-type Pokemon and a Water-type Pokemon, not going to be enough. So Ronald takes game 1 with some selective targeting under Trick Room, just systematically eliminating Alek's threats once he got the speed control. And I think that game really came down to that clutch survival right away. Predicting, Alek, to his credit, completely predicted Ronald's Terra on the Farigiraf, goes for the Raw Thunder into the Farigiraf, and it hangs on with 3 hit points.
Almost got it, and that really was the key, because once that Trick Room was up, the Iron Hands came in, and at that point, it's all about, calling what's going to protect. What does Alek think that Ronald is going to prioritize here? And so just, for the 2 turns in a row, leaving the Kyogre open without a protect, and then leaving the Zacian also open without a protect to that high horsepower was, it was, yeah, it's always tough in that kind of position, because once again, like you said, you had to call exactly, like you said, the Kyogre likely wasn't threatening a whole lot of damage, so, yeah.
I think if you're Alek here, you really have to lean into the Zacian. I think it's
Definitely.
the Pokemon that really threatens Ronald's team the most. And, we saw it in one shot in Iron Hands that game, and that is something that you just don't really see. So Zacian clearly has the damage potential, and if you can figure out a way to support it, either by denying Ronald's speed control, or even just with some redirection. I know Munga seems kind of weird here, given that there's electric terrain, but I think the Rage Powder support is super valuable. We do see a shakeup here from both trainers. Alek leading the Chiempao next to the Kyogre, as opposed to the Urshifu, and Ronald is going to bring out the Iron Valiant and the Miraidon.
Yeah, I like the Valiant here, because you can, threaten the Wide Guard in front of this Kyogre, but also threaten the Spirit Break into it too, so not only get Chip down to weaken the Water Spout, but also you just get a guaranteed special attack drop to do the same thing.
Yeah, and another thing is Ronald has the speed advantage once again. And interestingly, he's been playing this so well because despite having a Scarf Miraidon, he was able to effectively utilize Trick Room. And here, he's just going totally on the offensive. He's got two Pokemon that each have a 1.5 speed boost. Iron Valiant from the Quark Drive and the Miraidon from the Choice Scarf. So whatever Alek wants to do, he's going to have to do it after taking damage from two powerful attackers.
Yeah, and it's so awkward here for Alek too, because you really want Thundurus in this kind of position, not Thundurus, Tornadus in this kind of position to get the Tailwind up to guarantee that you outspeed both of these Mons at essentially +1 speed. But that does leave the Trick Room option on the table for Ronald, making it very difficult. But we see the Kyogre going for a Protect here. No Protect coming out from the Chien-Pao either, so it's just going to eat this Volt Switch, living on the Focus Sash while the Miraidon gets back out safely into some other pick.
Yeah, then if Ronald doubled this Chien-Pao, then it's just going to faint without having accomplished anything.
Yeah.
And that very well could be the case. The Kyogre's in a very awkward position with Iron Valiant on the field because Iron Valiant is a Wide Guard user, and both of Kyogre's main water attacks are spread moves, and we do see a Spirit Break targeting into the Chien-Pao, and that is going to take it out. So once again, Ronald with a fantastic turn one, really getting ahead of the game here. Now Kyogre's Protect is offline. If it wants to Protect, it's going to have to risk a double failing, and he's already down a Pokemon.
Yeah, Ronald perfectly calling Alek's Protect there, wanting to guarantee that Alek wanted to keep his Kyogre alive and in this game, and so just doubling into that Chien-Pao, which was likely one of the biggest threats to that Miraidon, and now it's just taking it out when he still has terrain control. He brings out the Urshifu now with the Choice Scarf, so this will still outspeed the Calyrex, but the Iron Valiant also being at the +1 still means that it will outspeed this Scarf Urshifu. It's not going to directly threaten any KOs. The Spirit Break is super effective, but Urshifu is fairly bulky. But yeah, we're just going to see the Wide Guard coming out on here.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting part of the game for Ronald because he's kind of in between speed control. He's in between speed modes here. He's got the super fast Iron Valiant. He's got the slow Calyrex Ice Rider. We do see a Wide Guard coming out, deciding to protect the Calyrex, but both these Pokemon are now very vulnerable to a Surging Strikes, including the Iron Valiant, which is going to take it out. However, I don't know if that's really in... I mean, it never is great to lose a Pokemon, but Ronald's got to feel good about just being able to bring in that Choice Scarf Miraidon here if he wants to, or if this Calyrex is setting up Trick Room, he can just bring in the Iron Hands, and it's going to be able to wreak havoc, and that is what's happening here. Trick Room is being set up by the Calyrex, and Iron Hands is coming in.
Yep, but this also does leave a slightly awkward position for that Miraidon in the bag. If Alek could potentially take out any one of Ronald's Pokemon here, then that leaves that Choice Scarf Miraidon in Trick Room, where it is going to be the slowest thing on the field. So Alek, once again, in a position where they have to call Protects, they have to know what Ronald is going to do here.
Yeah, and this is now that we're under Trick Room, the speed orders are going to be reversed, which makes the Scarf Urshifu the slowest thing on the field. And we see the Terra committed to the Calyrex, and Terra Water, as we mentioned before, an excellent defensive Terra against Alek's team. It's going to resist all the water moves from Kyogre. It's going to resist the Behemoth Blade from Zacian. It's going to resist the Surging Strike from Urshifu. And Terra Water on a bulky Pokemon like Calyrex, really going to do a number. We do see a Terra Ghost coming out from the Urshifu. This is likely to be to spare it from a possible Wild Charge coming out on the Iron Hands, but we actually saw two targets going into the Zacian here, so the Urshifu is going to be free to do whatever it wants. But now that Calyrex has committed the Terra, I don't think the Surging Strikes is going to be enough to pick up a KO.
Yeah, unless this targets down, this targets down the Calyrex, so this is going to take this hit extremely well. Like, this is a strong water type, always crits in the rain, but it doesn't even do like 25% to that Cali Ice. The defensive Terra of water really coming in handy here, and very well played. Oh, we're just gonna see a forfeit here.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a quick forfeit, but I don't know if Alek could have done much under Trick Room there. The Zacian was high horsepower bait. I mean, we did see a high horsepower miss last game, so you never know.
You never know.
But I don't know if the offense was there either between the Terra Water Calyrex being able to just sit in front of the the rest of Alek's team like that. So Ronald will lock up his place in top cut, and we'll see if Alek is able to join him.
Yeah, very well played by Ronald here. Alek, once again, like here at the whims of the Resistance, although I believe he got off to a 3-0 start, so that is going to be very good on the Resistance still. Both of these players should be locked for top cut, but we will get back to you and figure out who's going to be next.
Yeah, signing off from Balance Patch. We will see you next round in the top cut.